This is Take a Cue, episode 17, now available in video on Spotify and on YouTube.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Welcome to Take a Cue. I'm Erik Donough, 8th grade band and jazz band director.
And I'm Jen Wise, 4th and 5th grade instrumental music teacher.
We're two veteran educators with over 35 years of experience teaching in New Jersey public schools between the two of us, and we're excited to bring teaching and insights to you. Whether you're just starting out in your teaching career or you've been teaching longer than we have, this show will help you grow with new ideas and perspectives about education and teaching. We hope you'll be just as inspired as we are every time you listen. Before we begin, if you like this podcast, please help us out by doing a few super easy things. First, subscribe on your favorite podcast app. Then make sure you rate the podcast and leave a review, as it helps people find our show who haven't yet, and we really appreciate it. If you find that you get a lot out of our episodes, we'd be grateful if you considered becoming a monthly supporter to help us grow the podcast. You can sign up to make a secure monthly payment using the link in our show notes or visit our Anchor site, anchor.fm/takeaq. That's all one word. Also, if you have questions or comments about anything you hear on the episode, come and interact with us on social media or Take a Cue Podcast on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Now, listeners, you may notice that I just did that whole intro myself, minus one line.
Yep.
And that's because Jen is going to conserve her voice this evening for tonight's episode. Unfortunately, she sounds like this.
Yep. I'm going to conserve what's left of it. And here we go. You know, it's been a tough week at the elementary schools because when you sound like this, you really don't stand a chance. So, thanks for doing that, Erik. You nailed it.
Oh,
so, yeah.
Thanks. I practiced a lot, but we got there.
Yeah. Way to go.
The other thing that our listeners should probably be aware of is we actually already recorded this episode in its entirety with Jen's good voice.
We did.
And then I realized that we had some technical difficulties after we had recorded the whole episode.
Yeah. So hopefully the only technical difficulties on this side are my voice. But yeah.
We're going to kind of go through here and do this as, a little mini episode, kind of touch on a few things that we did talk about when we recorded it originally, and kind of let Jen take it easy on her voice tonight and do a sort of a brief synopsis of the episode that we already recorded and you'll never hear.
I'm sorry about that, everybody, but yeah, this is it is what it is. So, and if you want a more in-depth, version of any of our chats tonight, you could absolutely reach out on social media. We're happy to elaborate there. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. So
Jen, I hear you've been busy lately.
I have some gigs. This is the best thing. So, I haven't been playing a whole lot since, out in public since TJ was born. And this month, playing in a pit orchestra for a local high school. We're doing Fiddler on the Roof. And
that's awesome.
We had our sits this week and it went really well. I'm looking forward to that at the end of the month. And, I'm also playing in Livingston Symphony Orchestra. So if you're in the Livingston area this coming Sunday, the 19th, there's a free concert at 2 p.m. at Livingston High School. And it's kind of a children's program. And it's going to be really fun. Some lighter classical selections on the program. And I'm playing second flute. I haven't played in a symphony orchestra since college. So this is really fun.
And for our listeners who may not know what the Livingston Symphony Orchestra is, it's a really great community group that is actually, been in, its home is in Livingston, has been for decades. And, and it's really a gem in Livingston of a professional level orchestra that you can basically come in here for really inexpensive prices. Mm-hmm. And the quality is fantastic. So if you're anywhere in the northern New Jersey, definitely come check out the Livingston Symphony Orchestra. Definitely. They're a great group. I got to play with them, I don't know, maybe 20 years ago out of college. They were doing some jazzy tunes and they needed a saxophonist. And that was the first and last time I ever got to play with them.
Did they all look at you and go like... you know, they all looked at me like,
No,
what are you
no, they
doing?
were so nice and welcoming.
That's so cool. Good.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
love
So,
that.
but congratulations to Jen on these gigs. That's awesome.
I know, this is great. So yeah, it's been fun, you know, picking up my flute more than just like noodling a little bit before the kids walk in and keeping things, you know, fresh that way. So yeah,
Excellent.
It's been fun. How about you? Have you been have you been playing much, or what have you been up to?
I wish.
Yeah.
I wish I'd been playing much.
Okay.
Normally this is show season and I'm doing, 4, 5, 6 spring gigs throughout, between January and June. Unfortunately this year, or fortunately for the schools and for the kids, but unfortunate for me, a lot of the gigs that I usually play year after year either have kids that can cover those books really well, which is great. Like congratulations to those schools. And there are also just, some of the usual ones just don't have a need for a particular instrument. Oftentimes,
Sure.
I mean, I play double reeds, oboe and English horn more than I usually get called for saxophone, even though I'm a saxophonist first.
Right.
And just a couple of the shows that I like to, play every year don't need a double reed player. I already have one, in their kids, which is great. So it's a little more time at home. But if anybody out there in the northern New Jersey area is still looking for a reed player, I pretty much can do it all except for low reeds. Don't ask me to play a Barry book or a bassoon book.
Yeah.
Call Brendan for that.
I was gonna say he's got an EV. His trunk's not big enough. No, just kidding.
That's right.
Yeah. So
that's right. Well put.
Oh.
But yeah, I wish I was playing a little more, but that's okay. It means I'm home a little more than usual in the spring, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah. No, good.
Last time we were chatting, Jen, we were talking about the fourth graders joining your morning rehearsals and trying to figure out how much is too much, how much is not enough music.
Yeah, my fourth graders joined our morning rehearsals this week. So we've just been doing lessons since the beginning of the year, and now they're joining the fifth graders before school. Tomorrow morning, I'll have like 60 in the orchestra before school. And Friday morning, I'll have my roaring band of 80 in the gym at Riker Hill. Like it's a big week for them. So, so far it's going well. Everybody's really just excited. And I'm finding out that it's a little bit inhumane to be bringing everybody in for before school rehearsals the week of daylight savings time. Yeah. So I'm getting some grumbling from the masses about that, but
Is that inhumane to you or to the kids or both?
Yeah, a little of both. So I know one of my flute players today, she doesn't have her first morning rehearsal until Friday. She's like, I said, don't worry. I will be the same Mrs. Wise at 7:15 as I am right now at 2:30. And she was like, yeah, it seems like you've had a lot of coffee today. And I was like, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
I was like, no, you got me pegged, hon.
That's funny.
So it's great. They always feel like it's worth it, but yeah, this is the week. This is where it all started. So
nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, hey, I hope you feel, I hope you feel better, and I hope the kids get a little, a little more, normal after this week.
I'm sure we'll settle in. Yeah. But, in my lessons, I am starting to feel like I may have picked too much music, because I'm finding that like if we have four pieces in each folder, right? And I'm starting to feel like in a half-hour lesson, I can't do a little of each piece. And I also, you said this last time we talked, I also don't know if I want to be spending all my lesson time on concert rep. But I do feel like, they're still like learning the new music and they want to know more. And I end up spending like, a lot of time on it just to get everybody up to speed. And, so doing, four pieces, I'm wondering with half-hour lessons once a week, half-hour rehearsals before school once a week, if 4 pieces is too much to perform in the last week of May.
Yeah.
So,
and, we talked about this, and the only real piece of advice that I had for Jen, and I don't even know if it's advice or just, I don't know, something to ponder is and for our listeners too, I don't think it's necessary to always rehearse everything with the expectation that it'll be performed.
Yeah.
And I think, it's okay to rehearse a piece and have it not be something that got to performance level, and just say, you know what, we worked on this. We learned some good, valuable lessons, and, we're not going to put it on the concert. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. But you got to figure out what works for you.
Yeah, I got to think a little deeper about it. So our program is, we're going to start with Stone Harbor March. It's a little march that my husband Tom wrote, who you met
I love
in
that.
our last episode. Yep. And they're having fun with that. It's, key of E flat. We're also doing Aura Lee from page 12 in the Essential Elements book, Essential Elements 2000. I also started giving out an arrangement of William Tell Overture from the Bellwin Beginning Band Kit. And I really want to do that one, but not everybody's sold. But I'm like, guys, we could play it this fast, or we could play it this fast,
Or we could learn to double tongue.
Totally. Yeah. Game on. Let's go. We'll see how that goes. I think if anything were to get cut, it would end up being that one. Sure. It's just a little stretch for them technique wise, and then we're going to close the concert out with an arrangement of Star Wars. Carl Stroman. It'll be fun. So
awesome. That sounds like a great concert. I hope you get to play all of it. And if you don't,
thanks.
Oh, well.
I know. If we don't, well, at least we know, if somebody says, oh, they'll go, that's William Tell Overture. So we'll see.
Yeah.
How's your spring program rolling now? What do you have?
It's going really well. Yeah. I finally feel like the kids have started being able to focus a little bit better than maybe they have so far this year, which is great. And they weren't poorly focused up to this year, but I feel like they're a little more in it. There's quiet in rehearsal, and we can, kind of get some stuff done where maybe there wasn't quite so much before. But it's a really nice 8th grade. I've got a really good 8th grade this year. I'm going to just brag for a moment that I'm really lucky with the kids that I have pretty much every year.
Yeah.
But this year is really no exception. I have a really, really great group of kids, and they seem to really enjoy it. They want to be there. There's no attendance issues or stuff like that. Most of them come to most of their lessons, and they all seem to want to get better. So anyway, we're okay. Enough gloating. So we are working on the 3rd movement of the William Owens Tudor sketches, which, if you listened earlier in the year, you remember that I've been working on the first 2 movements for our winter concert, which is done. And so now, in preparation for our festival at Allentown, Pennsylvania in June, we're going to present all 3 movements. They just weren't quite ready for that 3rd movement in 6/8, but it also has duple and quadruple divisions of the beat. So it goes from triple to duple to quadruple all within one movement. So it was just a little too much. And there's some runs too, but they're doing great on that. They sound very, mature, and there's still some work to do, but they're getting there. We're working on Paper Cut by Alexandra Shapiro, which is a cool piece for band and electroacoustic accompaniment and paper. The kids crumple paper and snap it and rip it and shake it on the ground, and, really cool stuff. They're just starting with that, and that's tough because you got to have headphones on with a metronome click while the audience hears the music that doesn't have the metronome click.
Sure.
And the kids can't hear anything. So they just have to be with the conductor 100% of the time, who is not going to waver from that metronome. It's tricky. We're working on that.
Okay. That sounds
but it's fun.
Really
it's fun.
A lot of fun. Yeah.
To our directors out there who might be in, middle school, or maybe, a little easier high school level works. She is really great and available via Zoom or Skype if you want to have her in for your rehearsals. We had her in a couple years ago to work with my 8th grade band, and she was so gracious and showed us around her studio. She lives on an island off of Washington State in the Pacific Ocean.
What?
And she turned her camera around and let us see out of her gorgeous windows of her studio off into the Pacific Ocean. And oh my gosh, it was amazing.
Wow.
But she was so kind and worked with the kids and was very, she really had a good rapport. The way that she dealt with kids. So any of our listeners who ever are looking to do something like that, Alex is great, and she doesn't charge a whole lot, and she'll work with whatever you got.
That's great.
So definitely reach out to her. Just Google her and you'll find her information.
That's great.
We're also doing March of the Freedom Fighters, which is an easier march for the kids, but it teaches them about the march style. And it also is a chance for Brendan's student teacher to come and work with my kids. He's not in my lessons. And so I wanted to pick something that was a little on the easier side, just because he doesn't have a chance to work technique with them in lessons on this particular tune. But it's great. He's doing a great job. Something that we brought up, Jen, and I'm sorry to keep talking here. I'm trying not to burden your voice too much here, but one thing that we talked about when we first recorded this episode was working with either pre-service teachers or teachers who are new to the profession and are asking for feedback.
Yeah.
And it's interesting for me because although I've been doing this a while, the things that I notice with either Brendan's student teacher or one of our new colleagues down in the middle school, in the younger middle school, this is her second year of teaching. We go down there every month to do some recruiting, and she always is very, asks a lot of, do you have any suggestions, anything that you think I might be able to do differently, which is awesome because, as a new teacher, it's really important to be open to, others' ideas, even if you don't necessarily take their advice. Right. But yeah, it feels weird to tell somebody else, hey, you should try doing this, or maybe you want to do this a little bit differently, when I know I myself don't always do that.
Right.
Either,
that.
Hey, try talking a little less, maybe get them to play longer sections. And meanwhile, I'm talking in rehearsal, I'm playing shorter sections. It feels weird to be telling somebody else these ideas that I know I should be doing myself, but I don't always do either. What are your experiences, Jen?
I've had a couple student teachers over the years, a couple clinic placements too. I think it is a learned skill, getting the right way to say it. If they're asking for feedback, I usually just say it, if I'm just in somebody's room for the first time, I don't speak up unless they are there as a pre-service student teacher, it's tough because the same colleague that you're talking about came and visited one of my rehearsals to recruit my students. And I said the same thing to her. Do you have any feedback for me? What did you see? What do you, and cause she was standing in the back of the room with the percussion and like a mirror, and I was like, oh my gosh, tell me anything, tell me stuff, because it's so rare that we each get to have somebody else in our room, So,
and you said last time we chatted, when I have somebody in my room, I'm my best self.
Oh, I am. That's me. Yeah.
That was you. Okay, good.
Oh, yeah. I am textbook teacher. I'm taking every play from On Becoming a Conductor. I am that person. And when there's someone else watching me teach,
yes.
Oh, yes. Yeah, I am. And and it's been pretty cool over the years to mentor pre-service teachers and have those people in my classroom, and I find that the ones that are the best prepared end up taking the most time because they have the best questions and the deepest questions, and they're really working hard to get to the next step. And my husband has a clinic placement and a full-time teacher passing through his building with his program right now. They just started in the last week or so. So we're actually talking about this a lot, because each of our universities locally, prepare students in their own way, and they all get to the same point. But as cooperating teachers, as teachers taking on student teachers, we're their last stop before the real world, before it's 100% on them. So whatever's happening when they're in your classroom, it has to be said, and it has to be said right then, Yeah. And as far as colleagues, if they ask for feedback, I usually give it and frame it in the best way possible. It does feel weird, but if they ask, I try and say something,
Sure. Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's something that we should, that all teachers should probably do more of. I mean, maybe some are doing it a lot, but I know me personally is just inviting other people into our classrooms.
Yeah.
And having them give some honest feedback. It's tough because we're all busy. We're all scheduled all over the place.
I know. And my first year was a little bit of a shock. And I think that's why I was so motivated to take on student teachers as soon as I could, because my student teaching placement, all the ensembles were team taught. So there was always somebody else in the room. Granted, each ensemble was 120 kids. There kind of needed to be another body in the room. But all the ensembles were team taught. So that other person was there all the time to say hey, let's look at this section next week. What do you think? That was constant, and my first job, I was alone in my own building 3 whole days a week. And I was I have nobody to sound things off of, and nobody, it was a bit of a shock in the beginning. So, it's for our student teachers out there, grab that feedback and those team teaching experiences while you can.
Yes.
You don't always get it later on, so since our last chat, your student teacher is going to come observe me a couple days this month. So he's going to join me for a morning rehearsal. We're going to spend a day of beginner lessons together, and next week or the week after. Very excited to have him by me. So
that's great.
That's great. Yeah.
So what else is here on our list that we chatted about already and we're chatting about again? So we have All Township Concert coming up.
Yeah.
Do you want me to just quickly dive into what that is here? And
yes. I think you should.
The All Township Concert here in Livingston is something that started way back when, maybe 20 years ago. Well, probably actually 30 plus years ago, because I remember doing this when I was in elementary school in Livingston. Wow. The All Township Concert was originally put on the concert calendar the same night as the vote for the budget, the school budget. And it was created to get parents out to the school, and while they were there, they could go and vote for the budget.
I like it.
It was a great idea. Fantastic idea. It's definitely changed a bit since then, because in New Jersey, we've had some different laws passed since then. So now that actually most years the public doesn't vote on the budget. But we still continue doing the All Township Concert. And it is a way for different grade levels to sort of come together and play for their parents and have parents see, 4th grade all the way through high school and everything in between. Now, not every group gets to play every year, but I know Jen is actually conducting the 5th grade orchestra at All Township, and that isn't just her kids. It's all 6 elementary schools, 5th grade orchestra kids. So how many is that, Jen?
We're looking at 120, 125.
125 5th grade orchestra kids all at once. That is outrageous.
It's going to be so fun.
And we all the teachers in the district, all the music teachers get together and help out, even if we don't have a group going. I don't have a group going this year. So unfortunately, I don't get to see some of that cool stuff.
Right.
Because I'm usually backstage, doing crowd control for Brendan's group or Kristen's group or anybody.
Yeah. Well, we'll take anybody with a pulse that can also tune a violin, because that's a lot of strings. So and for elementary, our role has evolved a little bit, even since I started here in Livingston, and in the first years we auditioned the kids, so it was a select ensemble. So
right. That's how it was way back when I was in 4th grade.
Yeah. And it was a motivator, and you could take, 3rd, 4th, or 5th graders, anyone in your ensemble could audition and go out and do it. But since COVID, we had the last year was band, right? We had the 5th grade band, and we said, you know what? It's just not the year to say no to anybody that wants to come out and do this. So let's just invite all 5th grade band students to do it. And it was so much fun doing it that way. Everybody came and played and got to participate in the rehearsal. And it kind of stuck for this year, So it's I think it's a nice way to do it if we can if we have the real estate to fit them on stage.
Yeah.
So,
that's a big group.
Yeah. So,
Well, good luck with that. I wish I could tell you that I will look forward to hearing them, but maybe I'll have to hear a recording later.
Yeah. I think that'll be, oh my gosh. Yeah, that'll be fun.
So on our list here, I've also got that we talked a little bit about working on a digital instrument inventory for the district. Actually, I don't know if we talked about that. We may have skipped over that one. It's on our list.
And I'm sorry we did, because Eric has been working really hard on that, and importing like everything into Airtable. And you want to talk about that for a second?
I would love to. One of the things that our supervisor has tried to do over the last couple, 6 or 7 years, is get a pulse on how the district's instruments and musical equipment are doing. And there's 9 schools that have inventory. And it's really tough to get all the inventory in one place, because everybody kind of has, up to this point, has kind of done their own inventory and kept track of their instruments the way that they feel most comfortable keeping track of their instruments. And that's fine. But it's really tough to get an overview of the entire district's inventory. So our supervisor said, "Hey, I know you like databases and spreadsheets. Is this something you might be able to help out with?" And I said, "Sure." So I've been getting everybody's inventory in different formats and different layouts, and kind of putting it all into this great database program that's free called Airtable. So now I've been working to get all of the district inventory, and I've got almost everybody's inventory in now at this point. So we can all see all of the instruments between the district. I think I'm about up to 800 instruments now.
Wow.
Between the 9 schools, including some, including percussion and strings and band and all that. It's quite amazing, but that's been taking a lot of my time lately.
Wow. Yeah.
But it's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm. I was
if you're me.
I think you're going to find, as you dig deeper into the data and aggregate it and whatever the fancy words are, that I am hoarding trombones. Just
Nice.
Hand out like candy to my flute players. No,
Please
just
do.
kidding. Yeah.
Please hand out the trombones.
Yeah. No, that's so great. And it's just something that I don't have the brains or the time or the prep period to do most days. So we're really glad you're on top of it.
For our listeners who might be trying to get some new instruments for their their own inventory, this is a great way to do it, is to sort of just kind of go through and get a blanket idea of everything that your district owns as far as instruments and equipment. So you can say, look, we've got 50 instruments that are listed as poor.
Yeah.
Or do not repair.
Right.
We have 2 categories. We have poor and do not repair.
Yeah, those are floating around. So
yeah. But it's important to be able to go to the person who makes those decisions and say, "Hey, look at what we've got. This is where we are. How can we move past that? How can we start replacing some of those instruments?" And I think that's a really important thing. We could probably do a whole episode on how Brendan and I kind of have really tried to start turning around our inventory at HMS and replacing some of the really old instruments.
Yeah, I heard that you got the shopping bug this month.
Oh, I did. The instrument that I've played for the last 13 years, the alto that I've played, I have a bunch of instruments, but the instrument that I've played for alto for the last 13 years has been a Mark VI from 1972. And it is a beautiful instrument. It plays gorgeous. It has that Mark VI sound. And I've been very fortunate to play it. And up until this point, I've never played a modern instrument that had quite the same tone quality that I found in that Mark VI until last month.
Okay.
And so the instrument, it just happened that I found one and was able to try it and fell immediately in love with this instrument. Is a Selmer Supreme Model 2022.
Wow.
It is the Supreme is a fantastic horn. It's a regular Supreme, but it's just got some cosmetic differences.
Okay.
But it's a limited edition instrument for their 100th anniversary of Henri Selmer Company. They were started in 1922, and this is the 2022 model.
That's
and
so cool.
It is awesome. It's rekindled my desire to practice.
Yes.
Again, when you get out, for our younger listeners, this may be a little bit of a surprise, but when you get out and you're you've got a bunch of teaching jobs and you've got a family and you've got all this stuff, sometimes your instrument kind of takes a backseat. As much as one would hope, maybe it doesn't. And for some people, it doesn't.
Right.
I certainly know plenty of adults who, play regularly and who practice regularly. But it gets to the point, where you have a gig, so you practice.
Right.
If you don't have a gig, you're probably not getting the horn out too much.
That's true. Yeah.
Yep. You feel that way too, Jen?
I am. I'm kind of there. I've been playing a lot in the last couple of weeks to get the cobwebs off and make sure I'm playing everything on the page and and my alto flute went into the shop because it's seeing some daylight in Fiddler, so that's nice.
Okay.
It's
alto flute. Yeah. I hope they mic'd it.
No, I just.
Oh, okay.
I'm a beast on alto flute. I can project.
You have the projection that everybody wants.
That's it. I play the curved head joint, which I feel like does make it a little easier to project, and you're not like this while you're playing. So I mean, you should try it sometime. If you want, you're welcome to try it out. So because I like it. But congratulations, welcome to the family. So that's so great.
No, I'm really excited. It just makes me want to break out some Tableau de Provence and some. Scaramouche.
Oh, I was going to say Scamoochie. I was like, I know it starts with an S and it sounds kind of, squishy. So
impressive.
Thank you.
A flutist who knows her classical sax lit.
I know. Yeah. Makes me think. Yeah, it's funny. No, and what of your Mark 6? Will it still have a home with you guys, or is it going to find a new home?
Nope. Okay. I'm hoping to find it a new home. If any of our listeners are interested in a beautiful 1972 Mark 6 in darn good playing condition, hit me up.
Cool. That's good.
Yeah. But it's a great horn. Very exciting. Yeah. Jen, this was kind of like the Cliff's Notes version of our episode this month.
Yeah. We did it though. We're here. And, I hope, it's just, thanks guys. Thanks for listening. Thanks for bearing with my voice today. So
if you're listening and you really enjoyed what you heard, don't forget, please go and rate us with a 5-star review and a 5-star rating and a review on Apple, on Spotify, wherever you listen to podcasts. Just get the word out. If you're enjoying it, make sure you subscribe. We're almost at that 100 subscriber mark between our multiple channels that we're on, and we'd love to get a few more. And if you really liked it, make sure you tell other people about us. We hope that this information is useful to you. We really enjoy chatting about band, and hope that our listeners find it really interesting as well. And if you aren't already, please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, where we kind of post updates, and sometimes we send out little, extra things that we talk about in our episodes. So, follow us there. And if you really like it, consider becoming a monthly supporter. You can support it at whatever level you'd like, and you can find the link in our show notes. And finally, if you've got ideas for episodes, we've got a whole punch list of ideas, but we could always use some more, and we would love to, take your ideas into consideration.
Well, thanks for chatting today, Eric.
Oh, Jen, thank you so much for redoing this episode and with laryngitis at the same time. You're killer. You're awesome.
Oh, is that what they call it? I just call it, I yelled too much in my trumpet sectionitis. So, Oh. Well,
it's amazing. I don't have that yet.
Oh, that's okay.
It might be contagious though.
I know. I was going to say, wait till Friday. You'll have, the luck of the Irish with you, and we'll see how it goes. So.
Awesome. Well, for Jen, I'm Eric. Thank you so much for listening, and go out there and make great music with your kiddos. We'll see you next time.